What do you expect when you spend $2,000 on a device? You have probably the same expectation as I have: perfection. In this video I talk about the reasons why the Finnish VR headset manufacturer Varjo could not fulfill this expectation for me in the long term. There are nearly 30 million pixels to compute with the Varjo Aero. That's not far off the pixel count of an 8K screen. In VR, however, we have the challenge of having to achieve at least 90 frames per second to make motion look believable and smooth. You can imagine that no computer can currently do this. This is exactly why there are methods like motion smoothing. With motion smoothing, 45 frames per second are calculated at a refresh rate of 90 Hz and the other 45 frames are predicted or interpolated. It is often the case that manufacturers use different names for the same functions. This is also the case here. Varjo names it motion prediction. Unfortunately, without any function in this Varjo-based software. So users who enjoy Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 can rather enjoy the excellent motion smoothing support of the HP Rev G2. After all, we all know how much power this game requires. Motion reprojection is unfortunately not offered by Varjo either. Here, if 90 frames per second cannot be achieved, the frame rate is halved so that at least a consistent number of frames can be calculated instead of causing rubber banding. When asked, Varjo now replied that they at least have motion smoothing on their agenda. But what have they developed in the 8 months since release, if not such an important feature? If you want to launch SteamVR, it's a mess. You get a message that SteamVR is already running. There are workarounds which you can learn more about on the MRTV Discord server, but why can't Varjo finally fix this bug? They prioritize it higher now. However, in December 2021 I've already read in the area manual that the bug was known since then. Varjo told us content creators when they've unveiled the device that the Varjo Aero had a mini LED backlight with local dimming zones. They said that the control of local dimming zones is not yet available at launch, but will be added with a future update. Local dimming zones are the best compromise between disadvantages of OLED and advantages of LCD. The response to our question is not surprising. The possibilities with this feature are being discussed internally, but nothing is currently planned. That is bitter. I was aware that I wouldn't buy a device to wait for an announced feature, but I am somehow still disappointed. This phenomenon is certainly one of the worst problems. I'm sure that numerous returns on your end had this reason. When you move your head, the content you see becomes blurry. As long as you keep your head still, the image is very fluid and smooth, no matter how much content is moving and how fast. But if you move your head at the same time, you get this blur from your own head movement. According to Varjo, the type of backlight that is used especially in high-resolution displays is the reason for this. Could be, but then I would rather opt for a bit fewer pixels. Warping is another problem with the Aero. The so-called distortion correction can't keep up with the current headsets, so warping is an issue. In version 3.5.1 of the Varjo-based software, a new distortion correction was offered experimentally as an option, which is now even the standard in version 3.6. In fact, the warping has been significantly improved and the distortions at the edges have thus been improved for most users. This is great. However, there are drawbacks with this new lens profile from my point of view. I can't accept that it made the image a bit blurrier for me. The image also looks a bit enlarged for me and chromatic aberrations also occur more present depending on the distance between the eyes and the lenses. There are users who can also observe this, but I would like to mention that others, however, only see advantages with the new lens profile on the plus side. As you can see, there can be advantages and disadvantages with every new software version and every user reacts differently. What would be the solution? Well, offering several profiles as it was the case until version 3.5.1 would be one. Better yet, a new perfect profile that everyone would be happy with would be a great solution. However, according to Varjo, we no longer get a profile to choose from, and that represents a strong deterioration of the device by software for me personally, since the picture has improved in terms of warping but deteriorated in terms of sharpness. In sum, the Varjo Aero is still the headset with the best picture. Why Varjo therefore does not also make it a perfect headset remains unclear. As an end consumer, you don't get the feeling that the expensive purchase price is justified, since Varjo doesn't add any of the features I mentioned. Thus, after half of a year, the Varjo Aero unfortunately cannot convince me with the quality I would have expected for a 5 times more expensive Pico Neo 3 Link. Feel free to write in the comments how you feel and what you think. Do you have an Aero and do you have any expectations for it? Thanks for watching, I hope we see each other again in the next video. Ciao!